here today at North Iredell High School in the greenhouse, and we have with us Mr. Bill Walker, the horticulture teacher here. And Bill, good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming out.
We're going to do a couple different things. On our last video, we told you that we would let you see some of the transplants. So we have some of the young men, the young women here that's going to do that. I'm going to take an opportunity while we've got this beautiful tomato crop going on and some peppers behind us here to give you just a couple of little quick pointers on pruning that gives you a healthier plant and will give you more fruit. Most of these tomato plants I've looked around this morning are indeterminate plants, and the indeterminate plant is one that bears all season. You'll find out most of your heirlooms are, the better boys, big girls, better girls, all the plants like that are the indeterminate. The determinate plants we find grows lower, and they have a specific season, and you'll see those when they're grown. I think, and I don't remember the name, but you see them where, you know, they grow in clusters. I think a lot of the commercial growers now have a tomato out that all the tomatoes on the vine ripen at one time. Have you seen those?
I have. It makes it a lot easier in the commercial operation, but in your home garden, you want a tomato year round.
Right. You know, they send some people in to pick all at one time. You know, this section's right, they can go ahead, pick, pull, clean, box, and ship.
Yep.
With me and you, we can't eat 15 tomatoes at one time, or whatever the case may be, and then have enough for tomorrow.
Right.
So there's indeterminate and determinate tomatoes. Most sold are indeterminate. They grow higher, they require staking, and they require pruning. So, and that's one of the factors that most people lack, is the knowledge of pruning a tomato or pepper, and therefore you don't get quite a healthy plant most of the time, nor do you get as much fruit that you can. Now, I was looking at some of yours here, Bill, and I think I grabbed some German Johnsons. And you guys on the camera here, if you can get to these to look, I want to show you, right here's a good example of one. Let's kind of hold that one back here just a minute. And you'll see this with all tomatoes. Do you see this extra little limb growing right here? You'll notice the fruits below this. That's where your tomato is going to be. That is what it's called in our line here a sucker. Okay? That's the sucker. And if you'll notice, we have limbs going here and here and here. We want to show you some that'll prune. Now, there's some one bigger here. It'll make it easier for us. Let's look at that. And if you notice, this one's already has fruit on it. You're saving that for the tomato sandwiches, right?
Getting ready for summertime.
Okay. Now, I want you to notice another thing, too, about how these do it. Right here's a good example of a sucker. If you'll notice how this comes off and that one comes off there, this one comes off here, and it has a limb out to the side. What I like to do is cut these middle suckers off when you see them. Okay? You want to cut off the middle sucker, leave that lemon, and cut this one. Was that correct?
That
is the way you do? And most of the time with tomatoes, you just do this. Just pinch it off. Okay? And then that takes care of that. I will be setting these plants out, if it was me, and doing these. Let's grab one out of here. This one's a good one to look at. That plant there's been in longer, and like we said, it's ready to be sold, ready to go. So what I would do if I was going to prune this plant for my own use is, you see the little sucker coming right here. See it? It's already starting. So I would reach up, take that one out, okay? And then because of disease, I'd take this one, and this one, and this one. Now you can pinch those off. Set it into the ground about this far, and as it grows up and I'm staking, I'll start taking some more lower limbs off. Now the reason you don't want these next to the ground or the dirt is most of these are heirloom plants. They have not been bred for some of the diseases, and usually with watering or rain splashing, it'll get on the lower leaves and then it'll go through the whole plant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So would you do that any different, or how would you?
It looks good. It looks very good, and you can see where There'll actually be more roots coming off here at the stem.
Right. Now, what we've done is we alleviated these parts of the plant that we didn't need, so now we got more growth going here, more growth that'll go into the fruit. Again, we'll have more fruit and a healthier plant. So the main thing we want to do, and it's just like this, I'm going to destroy this one a little bit. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
If I got ready to plant that, you want to do this. Now take your fingers here at the bottom, and you want to pull those roots apart like that. And when you set it, then your roots will start going everywhere. Okay? And that's what you're after. And that one should be fine after it's watered again. I noticed also, Bill, that you had set some pepper plants. Again, pepper's the same way. You guys can get a hold of one that's, well, this one. Let's try this one here. Looks like it's got a little extra deal going on here. And these are sweet banana peppers. Again, before I planted this one, this would be my first initial pruning. I would prune this, and that. I would plant this plant to about right there in the ground. That gives me these two leaves. It leaves me 6 leaves coming out. If you'll notice, in between I have new leaves coming already. So I'm going to start growing this plant. But instead of putting my energy from this plant, the food source, water source, into these lower ones, that does me no good whatsoever, we want to prune those out. Okay? So what do you think, Bill? Is that, find out where I got it from. Okay, so now our guys here, we're going to let the girls with the camera kind of wander over. They're actually doing some transplanting.
They are.
You want to explain to that a little bit more on your, like we did the last video on the seed planting, growing, how are you planting trays and all, and maybe one of these guys can hold up a tray for us or whatever.
They're transplanting some bell peppers and I think Roma tomatoes, and it's our late crop. So we stagger our planting so that all of our tomatoes and all of our peppers don't come in at the same time. Because as you can see here, we have a lot that are ready to go in the ground, but we've got some that will be 3 weeks or so away from here, which will coordinate with our next big plant sale that we have here at the school.
All right, Bill. I'm noticing that your students are transplanting something. You want to give us a little overview again of what they're transplanting and how you go about it?
They're transplanting some peppers and tomatoes into 6-packs. We talked last time about how we seed with peat light. Well, they're transplanting into the potting mix, I believe is what it's called, the green bag. It's easy for us to keep colors straight here instead of names.
Believe it or not, we actually do a color coding on our bags because of a lot of the garden centers and all. You know, their help will know just by learning the color code, and so it works well then.
It helps us out a lot here, especially if I need to send them to get some, and we have both varieties here. It makes it a lot simpler. But they're transplanting into that. What they'll do is they'll take their fingers and make holes in every one of the cells of the 6-pack, and then take the plant from the seeding tray and plant it there, and then pack the soil tightly around it. And these plants will grow into what we sell. We start from seeds on all our vegetable crops and transition that into plants that are marketed.
Now, with the potting mix, compared to the peat light, your potting mix works well on all your annuals and your vegetables, perfect on vegetables, herbs, and all that. Because of our process of the composted calcium in there, you get your minor nutrients, you get your NPK, that's, to a point that it doesn't burn. Also, the composted calcium acts like a time release fertilizer by releasing it with this mix, and then it also with the other ingredients, it has enough drainage but yet holds water well.
Right.
So in a greenhouse setting like this, and when you're gone for the weekend and things like that, it's important that you guys have a mix that holds water. not to the point where we do root damage, but for the point it don't dry out in 3 or 4 hours.
Right, and that is very handy here at the school because, you know, on the weekends it can become not aggravating, but cumbersome to have to come to school every day and water. And with the help of the potting mix, we're able to work with that.
That's good, and that's the one thing we want our people to know. I noticed that you can tell that these young men and young women here have done this before. They're really doing good. They've got just like an assembly line going up, and we have them over to this side that they're mixing up the soil always. And just like myself, when I'm transplanting or seeding, I like to wet my potting mix or whatever mix I'm using before I put it into my trays or cell packs. And they're doing that and filling them, bringing them, and we've got some that's setting and pulling. And what's the roots looking like here? Maybe one of you guys could, when you pull one out of the tray, show the camera what the roots look like. Maybe walk up there, some of you, and just let them see what your root structure are. Several of you could do that's fine. Now is that a bell pepper or a hot pepper?
That is a bell pepper.
Are you using California Wonders, Sweet Bell, or what?
We have both California Wonders and Big Berthas. Those are the two varieties that folks really like when they come in and ask about them.
Well, and they do well in this area, yeah. And our type of climate and soil, they do really well. So the main thing is that you can see how many seeds can be put in a small tray to get started. So with your greenhouse here, it is student size. It's not humongous. Nice greenhouse, but you know you have to figure every way to go. But still, that is a very inexpensive, a smart way to start your seed. You know they're here. Do your transplants, and you're ready to go. And you know,
we actually have it set up with a mist bed on that table where they're working at today, and that's where we germinate all our seeds. Is that full bench space there, which leaves these 3 tables open for when we transplant.
Right.
To fill the tops.
And I've noticed, and one thing that I like myself personally, because in a situation like we did talk, the seasons been different this year, so they've had to stay in the 6-pack longer. I know a lot of people are using 3-packs or the 4-packs, and the opening on the cell is real small. They're not as deep. And here's the thing about it. I like a 6-pack like this. You know,
we do too, because there's a healthy root system to go with the plant when you go to transplant it into your garden. We have some of the more shallow 6-packs, but I don't think the root composition's as good on those as what we get with the larger cell packs there.
I totally agree with you. So that's another plus to do it. And you know, we talked last time, I think we have it on our website, that people can go, and it's linked to y'all's, and they can come in here during school hours and you know, on your sale days, special sale days on the weekend, you have 1 or 2, and purchase these plants at a great price. And they get a beautiful plant, and they're also helping the FFA.
That's right.
Your FFA organization.
That's right. All the money raised here goes back to these kids that are doing the work. So they really get to see it from start to finish.
Now let me ask you one question on the FFA. I always like to get that in too on any video we do, because again, I'm a firm believer in FFA. Now you guys make sure when these kids want to go on a trip or that's FFA related or wherever, that y'all try to raise enough money to support it, and therefore their parents or their self really doesn't have to come with any money out of pocket.
That is correct, Melvin. We do our best to offset as much cost as we can. The economic times right now are still very difficult on a lot of folks, and we try to cover cost as much as possible. We cover hotel rooms and bus fees and registration costs and things like that. On a lot of our trips, the kids are only responsible for the food that they're going to eat. And there's some other schools that charge kids for hotel rooms and things like that, but we do our best not to, and we've never had to. And you know, we look at it as the kids are giving their time and their effort into helping themselves and helping us, and we should be able to help them. And thanks to various people in the community and other businesses locally, we're very fortunate to have a lot of financial support that helps these kids out. We've got a lot of good kids. We really do.
You know, we want them to be here and use Daddy Pete for the next 121 years or something like that. I don't know. But you know, we're impressed, and we want to thank you again for allowing us to be part of the greenhouse and the FFA and all.
We certainly appreciate all of Daddy Pete's support, without a doubt. We couldn't do what we do without you.
Well, same here. We couldn't do what we could do without you. This is a good testing ground for us, and a continual know that our product's working well and doing what it should do. And when we come in on this basis to where you're working and starting out with a bunch of young men, young women that doesn't have any idea, and they have results like this, it's because of a lot of things coming together, and we're just totally excited about it. So, Bill, thank you so much for letting us come. Guys, thank y'all so much for letting us come and showing us what you do. And I want to let you all know you're doing a great job. This looks excellent in here. Looks excellent.
Thank you.
So thank you a lot. Anything we can do to help, let us know.
Thank you, man.